why he makes the music that he makes and stuff like that. And it's one of them days where I just want the conversation to kind of lead wherever it goes to or whatever.
I had a thought about this, about the anyways, hopefully there's an opportunity for me to say it. But anyways, I have a thought, so hopefully just be prepared for it.
Porsche, you're the co-host. You can say whatever fuck you want to say. Whenever you want to say it.
No co-host stuff. No. It's with regards to why, when we're looking at this, 1988, 1996, 94, 91, all these old dates, and then talking about the climate then, the climate now, and where is the music? You know what I mean? In 20 years, we're going to look back on 2020 and be like, okay, so this was the climate, but where's the music to reflect the climate? Right. Back then, there wasn't, in 88 when Public Enemy, sorry, this is again, I'll wait. We'll make this happen.
All right, no doubt. Let's go. What's good? You tune in to Apartment 5B podcast hosted by your man Kill. I got my squad with me. As always, ladies first. Porsche, what's going on, miss?
How's it going, Kill?
Hey, everything is going as well as it can right now. Vern out the ATL. What's going on, good brother?
Man, glad to be here. Exhausted mentally, physically, but y'all giving me energy.
All right, no doubt. My brother Eddie out in LA. What's going on, good brother?
Hey, man, I'm good, man. Just like everyone else, man, it's been rough mentally, but we try to keep our heads up, man.
Yeah.
No doubt. Liking that tipping point shirt too, good brother. And I got my good brother with me, Nathaniel Starr, chopping it up with us tonight. What's going on, good brother?
Peace, family. Peace.
No doubt. Y'all know me. Let's jump right into it. We all know about everything that's going on. The George Floyd murder, just everything that's been going on right now, the protests, and being on Twitter and social media, I'm seeing so many people posting, Public Enemy, Pac, BDP, all these great groups. But I'm like, these songs was made when I was 13, 14. I'm 46. You know what I mean? We got more MCs right now than we've ever had in the history of the culture. And I'm not hearing music that's reflecting that. You know what I'm saying? Especially whole album wise. It's dope, that people come out with a song here and there. I'll take what I could get. But kind of just want to look at the day as why do you think that is? Why do you think we don't get the kind of hip hop that we got in 88 and 89? And, I've got so many different, thoughts on this, but, we're going to be going into the top 5 songs that spoke to us, whether it be from a political view or just a do better view or just songs that we wish were being made right now. So we'll be chopping it up about that. And this is one of these days where, stuff like this, we just gonna let the conversation and the questions just kind of, lead us where to go. So Porsche, you set it off. Why do you think we don't get the kind of music that we got from the Public Enemies, the X-Clans, the BDPs, all those artists in the late 80s and early 90s? Why do you think we don't have that now, especially when you now don't even have record labels telling you what to make, because the majority of these artists, are indie or putting stuff out themselves. So what do you think, why you think that is?
I think it's because music artists, specifically hip hop, rappers, MCs, very few, the majority of them don't really have any content, quality content. And that's a result of not having to, because they're catering to mainstream, to clubs, to radio, and the focus was different for so long that now comes a time when we need some quality, some depth, some insight, some wisdom, some experience, and they don't have anything but ass shaking and coke raps, and which is cool, but it just doesn't serve all the time. And that's why we go back to Pac, Public Enemy, BDP, these guys. So that's what I think, but yeah, I don't know.
All right, no doubt. Nathaniel, what you think, good brother?
I definitely have to echo Porsche, but I think that the music is there. It's just not popular music. Um, you have a number of independent artists. You have a number of underground artists that make that type of inspirational music that we need in these times. But the vast majority of these artists are not known because, as was just mentioned, it doesn't really sell records, man. And it's a business. So what is promoted, what's pushed out, what's absorbed and accepted by the masses is music that isn't always the most conscious music. And so when you have times like this, when you need that element, a lot of these guys just don't know how to do it. They've never had to do it. They don't know how to do it. But I definitely don't think it's because there's a void in that music. I think it's because there's a void in the business of making that music popular. That's just my thought on it.
All right, no doubt. What you got, Vern?
Pretty much a lot of the things that have been said, but I'd also say, I think a lot of it, I think the game has gotten younger, and I could be wrong. But Chuck and some of those guys were a lot older, experienced life. They were also they were the children of a lot of parents and family members who came out of the struggle for civil rights and liberation and things of that nature. So we got that by osmosis a lot of times. And then a lot of them were in college. Not to say that the kids that's in hip hop and stuff now aren't in college, but when we all went to college, I know I went through my stage when I was a freshman in college. It was just discovery and reading different things that I'd never been exposed to, and then that would be, if I were rapping, that would be reflected in my songs. And I don't think, not to paint the picture that everybody is just out for the money, but most are. And so you're going for whatever. I mean, you think about it, a lot of cats say, I don't write my raps, I do this, I do that, the little basic stuff, because that's what's selling. So it's about what's going to be popular, like my man said, and what's going to sell, and that ain't it. So they don't even go down that street, and that's what reason for the void. But again, not to say that it's not there, it's just not popular, and you got to do a deep dive for it.
All right, no doubt. What about you, Ed?
Yeah, I really like what Vern said, man. I think there's a lot of artists that just don't have that talent and ability as artists, especially the music that's popular and what fans are looking for. There's less depth than ever before on the surface, but obviously there's a lot of depth, as Nathaniel said, in the underground. Then you got artists that, when it comes to these kind of issues, they want to get what I like to call, fake beat. You hear a lot of talk about conspiracy theories and Illuminati and stuff like that, but not really any depth or substance that is actually going to help real folks. You know what I mean? Like, what is talking about conspiracy theories going to do, especially unfounded theories? You know what I mean? So, and to be honest, a lot of these artists, that kind of go left field with it, I'd rather them not talk about certain issues because, they're just going to botch it. They're just going to lead people astray with their opinions or whatnot. But I think there are a group of artists that are in that conscious lane, so to speak, that do address it and are very good at addressing it. So.
All right, no doubt. And of course, I agree with everything everybody's saying. I think the one thing for me is, I wonder, do people want this music only when stuff like this happens? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the situation where it's like, it's almost like a supply and demand. Like, you know what I mean? I'm seeing every day somebody will pop up with a song. Dave East, I think, just dropped a song, and Pharaoh and Styles dropped a song. So I wonder if the people even really people say they miss it, but if none of this stuff was going on and there was not no racism, but if it wasn't as bad as it is right now with with police killing black men and black women, would people be wondering, where's the public enemy? So it makes me wonder, does the audience even want this music, you know, in the first place, you know. And then I think the other hard part is that is how do you even promote the music? Because like Nathaniel, you were saying like the underground. And the funny thing is back when I used to do Strictly Hip Hop back in 97, 98, 99, I realized it used to just be above ground and underground. And then around 98, 99, there came another level. It was like, no, you got to go underground. Like, because you had, at that time, you had Jay-Z, and then Black Star was looked at as underground, and Pharaoh was underground. But no, you could even go even deeper and go into some Company Flow, into some other groups that's now I feel with DistroKid and everything else, you got another level of underground of artists like that's really like how, like, I guess Nathaniel, what I'm asking is how would you tell people to go look for that music? Because I really feel like you would have to literally take the time to just here's the thing, everybody's on iTunes. Every single person who raps is on iTunes. Every single person who raps is on Spotify. So it literally is like when I used to go digging for records, I mean, you are now digging through millions of people. So you being an indie artist, tell me this, how do you promote yourself? Or for people like me who's like, you know, nobody's doing it, how do we find these artists? Because it's a sea of everybody.
Man, that's the $1 million question. And to be honest with you, I don't really have the answer. As you mentioned, like DistroKid and all of these platforms, TuneCore and things of the nature, make it so that everybody, it's a beautiful thing. Everybody can get their music out there, but it also means that every market is now super oversaturated, right? So how do you wade through everything to get to a style of music like you know what we're talking about right now? I don't know. I mean, it's social media is both a gift and a curse, man. And I guess it just goes back to the simple word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's back to like grassroots word of mouth. Like, oh, I heard this. Yo, check this out. I heard this. Yeah, we all have everything right here, but for some reason that doesn't really translate with regards to this type of music. I think people just have to promote it more. The artists, obviously, we promote our music to the best that we can, but it has to be like you said. What do the people really want to hear? Do they really want to hear it? Who knows? They want to hear it now, but if you're not familiar with the artist before now, how are you going to get it? You know what I mean? So therein lies the problem. We have to do a better job, I guess, collectively of making sure that at least you know who these people are. So when you want to find something that's encouraging or motivating or Black love or Black power or whatever, you'll at least have some direction as to which way to turn. But I don't know, man, it's an ocean of people. And you know, you just gotta, we out there wading in it.
Right. One of the things I'm thinking about is I would love to see more hip hop sites like Two Dope Boys and Nah Right and other hip hop sites put out things to artists like, yo, if you've got some dope positive music, yo, we're posting that. You know what I mean? Because I know people, I think Two Dope Boys really, really blew up when Quest was like, you know, that's where I go to find out what's dropping. You know what I mean? So if you know you're getting 2 million viewers a day who want to hear hip hop and they open their doors to artists who are like, yo, if you got dope positive music, yo, send it in, we're going to post it. I know that would help, you know, a rack, you know what I mean? But the problem is they're not doing that. You know, I know we've got this huge thing of, oh, what a record label is going to do for the Black people. These blogs make money. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, these folk make money. And it's like, I'm like, I remember people telling me how much it costs to get up on some of these blogs. So these blogs is damn near the radio for artists nowadays. Back in the 90s, it was like, how do you get on Hot 97? You got to have some money. How do you get on these Two Dope Boys and spots like that? A lot of time you either got to know them or you got to have some money. Vern, what do you think about that? How do you, like, do you find yourself in a place where, like, to me, it's intimidating. And I think I'm a digger for the most part. You know what I mean? But when you get on DistroKid or you get on iTunes and it's literally 1 million people out there, it's like I can't spend all day looking for somebody, you know, but what do you think, Vern?
Yeah, I think, like my man said, it's a blessing and a curse because everybody can get, the beauty of it is everybody can get on and the curse of it is everybody can get on.
Right.
And like we're older now, so I don't have the time to deep dive like that. So thankfully, I love the places where it's like if you like A, you might like B. I've discovered a whole bunch of artists that way, and then I lean on the people that I trust their music ear to put me on the stuff, man. But other than that, it is a chore to find it. But I do find myself. That's the music I listen to. It's not mainstream. The artists that I like, most people have never heard of, or they had just in passing. So, what I found is the artists that I like, I usually like the people that they roll with, and then that just keeps growing. I don't know if that answered your question, but yeah.
No, it does. Prayerfully, you still trust me after the whole Myron incident. Prayerfully, we're still good with money.
Yeah, man. I mean,
with that. All right, good. Everything ain't gonna touch everybody. Porsche, what do you think?
I mean, I keep hearing that it's there, you got to find it. It's there, you got to find it. And I'm like, well, I like, there's just so much being put out. There's so much music to consume. So I personally just rely on the like-minded individuals. That's why I sort of, I'm kind of known for blocking people left, center, and right. And it's because like, if we're not kind of like-minded in a way, then I can't really learn from you because we're just going to be conflicting all the time. So I've curated my social media to really reflect people that when they tag me in things, I'll listen to it. When they DM me and say, hey, check out my music, I know you'll like this, I trust that. So a lot of when I find things, or when I hear a dope track or a dope album from somebody I didn't know before, it's because of my followers, truthfully. And I rely heavily on that because there's no, like, I don't even know how to navigate Apple Music to find new artists that I would like. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to navigate this plethora of music that comes out so that I can find because I don't want to listen to 10,000 people that are going to talk about dropping, I don't know, $100 bills on strippers. Like, I don't want to sift through that to get to the good stuff. I'm not in that business. Right. So, and I don't have the time for that. So yeah, that's how I find it for myself. I just rely on people, word of mouth, like Nathaniel said. So.
All right. And what about you, Ed? Same thing?
Yeah, a little bit of the same thing. Like what Portia is saying, like curating my timeline. The funny thing is, a lot of times, we'll be in these music discussions, following certain people, and I'll kind of see, all right, this person, I'm digging, their contributions in the timeline, their comments, and, these people I mess with are following them, wind up following them. A lot of them I find out later are artists, and, kind of wind up diving into their music a little bit and finding out, this stuff is really good. Some of them not so much, but, there's a lot of artists that I discover like that, that I don't realize, because it's just kind of connecting and building on the timeline, talk about music and other stuff. But I mean, a lot of the established artists also that I follow, a lot of them, I mean, if they do put on other artists, or if they are, like someone like, for example, someone like Afante, who, is a dope artist, but also a fan of the music, he gets into discussions right there with us, because Afante was back in the OK Player days too, posting just along with everyone on OK Player. So I feel like him on Twitter is the same way. He's an artist as well as a fan. So if he's talking about an artist, then I'm likely to look up that artist and give him a chance as well.
Yep.
All right, no doubt. Well, look, we're gonna keep the conversation moving with this all night, but let's talk about favorite pro-Black, however you want to define that, pro-Black, inspirational, We Are the People, songs. What are your top 5 and why? Porsche, why don't you give me your top 5 songs and why they spoke to you?
Okay, I tried. I say it like that because I really, really, really tried to stay away from Tupac and Public Enemy. But I have like, first of all, I could pull 5 songs from each of them and come here and
Right.
just say that, right? So it's very, very difficult for me. And then I thought to myself, like, why? These people are the best for a reason. They're one of my favorites and who I think are the best for a reason. So I got Changes, of course, by Tupac. I've got Words of Wisdom by Tupac. I've got Letter to the Free by Common, and that's off of the 13 soundtrack. It's I don't know if you've seen it or seen
No,
it.
I haven't
on
heard that
Netflix.
joint.
Well, 13 is a movie.
I've seen 13.
Oh,
I just haven't peeped the
I haven't even
soundtrack.
seen it, but the music is great. And the reason I loved this one and it stood out is because I know that Common is going to come with something intelligent, something relevant, something that is going to stick with you. And he does that in this song. So Letter to the Free, and then The Foundation by Exhibit. I love that song. And that song sort of, I loved it. And then when I hear it in these emotional times, it sort of is like a tearjerker for me because I just can't believe that this album dropped way back when it dropped. And these words are wildly relevant in 2020. And it's crazy to me that it makes me emotional that way, you know? And then I got White Man's World by Tupac and Prophets of Rage by Public Enemy. So those are mine. And I know that was more than 5, but.
No, it's all good. DJ Rec One, what's going on, good brother?
What's going on, everybody?
Everything is good. Everything is good. Nathaniel, why don't you give us your top 5 and break down why?
I told you I was gonna talk about some of my stuff, man. So I had a project that I put out for Black History Month called El Negro. And that whole project was about, you know, I mean, the name is called The Black. So, I mean, it's everything black, black love, black pain, black overcoming. So one of the songs I had on there is called Fire. And if I could pull up a lyric, I think that sometimes you just got to destroy systems that don't work. You know, we didn't ask for these problems, but make no mistake about it, as obvious as to what's going on out there right now, you know, we will burn it down if we have to make you understand. I got a song on there called Not This Time. That song, I'm actually talking about Nat Turner's Rebellion. And I have a line on there. That says, not this time. We know you've won before. You've secured the battle, not the war, not this time. Keep the kingdom safe from the animal. We'll make sure it's understood this time. Sometimes you just got to be ready to jump in there. If we're all familiar with the story of Nat Turner, his rebellion here in Virginia back in 1831, him and a band of enslaved people decided enough was enough, and they set out to do whatever they needed to do. They often called that the first war that led to the Civil War. So sometimes radical action has to be taken, man, to get you what you need. So that's what that song is about. My third one is a song called Watch. You know, we live in a world that everybody pulls their cameras out. Whenever anything is going on, the first thing people do is, you know, they on it like that. That song, I say, you never did respect us. That's why you neglect us. Come around here, get punched out your necklace. Oh, I can't stand you. How dare you reject us? You know what I mean? We're never going to trust you. We're never going to love you. I pray for your downfall. Can't wait to see your downfall. That right there is just, I'm attributing what we see to like as the rosters would say, Babylon, man. And we hate Babylon. So, as mentioned before, sometimes you just got to attack the situation straight on. But they say the revolution won't be televised. The revolution is absolutely televised. We live in a world that everybody is watching, literally. So that's why that song is entitled "Watch." What was my fourth one? My fourth one is a song called "You Never Loved Us." So I'm not just a rapper. I'm a singer first. So this song is a slow song, man. But it's some of the lyrics in this are extremely emotional, man. I mentioned how they used to feed our children to alligators down in the bayou in this song. I mentioned a lot of things. I mentioned the fact that they're supposedly afraid of us as Black men. So I say, I heard you're afraid of me. Stop lying. You're afraid to lose your privilege. See? So it's like, it's just a reminder as to the history of the treatment, rather the mistreatment of Blacks and ever since we've been disconnected from the motherland, man. What we faced, what we withstood, and what we've overcome. So it's kind of like you love our culture, but you never really loved us type vibes. And it's my hashtag, that's my never forget song. We always hear about the never forget 9/11, never forget this, never forget that. So never forget how we've been treated throughout history. And this is all from the same project. This last song is called Victory. Victory, one of the lines I say is, we stomped through the ghetto from Chicago to Soweto, and everything's designed to make you let go. But we're created from the stars of a settle. So I'm basically saying that, we can be and are unified in a lot of ways. And if you look at the way the world over is marching and chanting, it's almost like the voices are in unison, you know what I mean? And even though the wicked Western world, the white supremacy agenda is to break us, devalue us to the point that we no longer see the value in ourselves. We do well to remember that we're made from stardust, you know what I mean? So like the last line I say in that song is, I'm gonna make you sick of me. I'm going down in Black history. Yeah, man. So that whole album, man, was that type of vibe. And I felt it was necessary, in particular for Black History Month, man. I put that project out free. I didn't even charge anybody for that one. That was only on my Bandcamp page, and it was a song for every single day of the month, man. And it was a leap year, so it was an extra day in February, man. But that's my top 5.
All right, no doubt. I got some questions to ask you about that, but I'm gonna let everybody else come around first. Okay. DJ Rec One, man, what's going on, good brother?
Ain't nothing, man. Just trying to stay not necessarily under the radar, but just trying to stay on point right now. That's the main thing.
I feel you, good brother. Give me your 5 songs that spoke to you, man.
So 5 songs. All right. Honestly, man, I've been listening to a lot of old stuff right now, man. Ever since the Erykah Badu, Jill Scott joint, man, I've been in that bag for a hot one. I've been banging Worldwide Underground, New America Part 2. Conway's joint, the one you sent me the other day, that snuck in my rotation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, spot on, speaking to what's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? One of the few artists that's actually doing that. We talk about that on the timeline every day. And I'm not going to say it's unexpected, because he does a lot of stuff off the cuff that's not for publicity. But his joint is in my rotation right now. Dog, I've been banging Black Caesar down and out in New York City. Just watching what's going on down there. And I think that's really it, man. I don't think I have a fifth one, man.
All right.
I don't have a fifth one right now.
All right. What about you, Vern?
All right. Let me find my list. I did this on the spot. X-Clan Day of Outrage. I remember I was a freshman in college, like I said, and that album as a whole spoke to me, but that song in particular, I remember the line that said, "The niggas don't have permits and they taking the bridge." And I heard Brother Jay talk about it. That was something that really. Matter of fact, Kill in the No Half Stepping book, they talk about that. It was a day in New York when they were marching in regards to some police brutality. Welcome to the Terror Dome obviously speaks for me. It says a lot in different areas. This one may not be a necessarily revolutionary song, but it speaks to me, and that's Common's B. When he says, "I'm waiting on the Lord to rise and look into my daughter's eyes and realize I'm gonna learn through her. The Messiah might even return to her. If I'm gonna do it, I gotta change the world through her." And so, some of the stuff I was sharing with y'all before the call today is in response because I was talking to another friend of mine. He's an attorney. He's 50. His son is an officer in the Navy. His daughter Tanae just graduated from Tulane. Got another daughter in college and little young daughter. But they are, that family is dope. His mom and dad are attorneys, and they about it. And he was saying, I was sharing with him my struggles, and he shared with me some of his from a corporate standpoint, how we have to fight the way we can fight. Everybody can't fight the same, but we all got to fight because our kids are watching us. And that B is like a constant reminder of me that I got to change the world through her. You know, I want her to be in that structure, but and not as a lackey, as somebody with a voice that ain't afraid to share that voice. So that song, let me see. Did I say Welcome to the Terror Dome? Yeah, so there's three. Fight the Power. I'm gonna say Revolution by Arrested Development. That was on the Malcolm X soundtrack, and it was cool. I know Speech in them, and coming from a kind of a folksy, Mr. Window, everyday people kind of vibe, and then to go to Revolution was a kind of a wake up call for me, and hearing them sing that. And then I'm gonna throw two more. The Whole World by Outkast. I like some of the stuff that it said to me. And again, a lot of things that speak to me from a revolutionary or a fighting standpoint is not necessarily the most incendiary songs, but some of the words speak to me and make me want to be the best self that I could be. And the last song, it's a song called Win. The artist is Chocolate, and Fonte has a dope verse on there. She's like, "You want us to lose, but we're gonna win." And Fonte says, "To all the critics in abundance, no real world experience. To all the critics and the pundits, no real world experience, just theories in abundance. Want to tell you how to do it when they ain't never done it. Want to criticize your swing when they ain't never swung it." Like for me, the arena that I'm in, it's not a lot of us doing it on the level that me and some of my guys are doing it. And so, it's a constant every day. I got a list called Encourage that when I used to drive to work, I put that song on. I mean, that list on, and just get myself hyped to be a black man in this society with all of those hidden booby traps and things that we have to face. So those are some songs that kind of speak to me on that level.
All right, no doubt. What about you, Ed?
Yeah, I got a bunch. I was kind of going back and forth because where my mind's at right now is more like protest songs and songs about brutality and stuff. But the first joint I have is Pharoah Monch, Clap One Day. So that whole song is basically Pharoah Monch, talking about the black community and relationship with the police, and how they abuse their power, the brutality and all that, and basically saying one day the people are going to clap, like clap back at the police, either literally or figuratively, however you want to take it. So the part of that joint that really spoke to me is at the end of the joint, the beat kind of fades out and it's just clapping. And he says, no respect, no manners. It's Mad Max with multiple Max, Mad Banana Clips, and a black hammer that hits the back of a black talon, a slew of hollow tips through the wall of your blue silence. And selective theatrics, collective dramatics. I'm systematically pissed. Clap automatics for Mamiya Abu Jamal. Maybe I'm Crispus Attucks. P's a fanatic for peace, but you angered a pacifist. The gospel, I spit it like Jesus of Nazareth, then emphatically clap at any obstacle and impossible feat. The fathom is not logical, but chronicle the thought of the people, because one day we're gonna clap. So that joint always, hits me, especially in moments like this. And that's an old joint too, So a lot of these joints, it's amazing how relevant they still are. The next one I got, Talib Kweli, The Proud. There's 3 verses on that, all talking about different things, but really it's the second verse that I'm focused on, where it's basically Talib is dealing with, what to tell his son about, black men and women being killed, so this part of the verse it says, I already know the deal, but what the fuck do I tell my son? I want him living right, living good, respect the rules. He's 5 years old and still thinking cops is cool. How do I break the news that when he gets some size, he'll be perceived as a threat or see the fear in their eyes? So that, to me, I'm a father of a 5-year-old, so it hit me back when this dropped in 2002, but it hits me even more now. So I got to join Joey Badass. I won't get into all the lyrics, but his joint it's on his album called All American Badass, and that whole album was pretty much dealing with all these issues that we're dealing with now. And this one joint called Babylon, he basically he goes in on the whole issue of police brutality, gets really emotional, which I kind of appreciate on that record, because he's known as a really lyrical MC, but on this album, he kind of took the back seat, kind of got more focused on, the passion in his lyrics, not really all the wordplay and stuff. I'll try to get through these quick. I know it's taking a while. Then there's this joint from Run the Jewels called Early. And the first verse of this joint, really, when the first time I heard it, it just kind of hit me really, really hard. Killer Mike, he's talking about being detained by the police in front of his house, in front of his wife and kids, so that whole situation. And he's, talking to police, trying to, reason with them, don't do this in front of my kids, like, how does that look? So that's another joint. And then my last one is Dear Black Son by Brother Ali. And the first couple bars on that, Dear Black Son, there's people you never met who fear and hate you for something that you never did. And these people are so convinced, sometimes they pull the trigger, call that self-defense. So you already know where that joint's going. But that's what I got. That's in my 5 joints.
All right, no doubt. For me, I was like Porsche. I wanted to stay away from Public Enemy, but we talking about what spoke to me. So number 1, not in no order, Fight the Power, PE, 89, to Do the Right Thing soundtrack. The line that stuck out, Elvis was a hero the most, but he never meant shit to me. Straight up racist. The sucker was simple and plain. Motherfuck him in John Wayne. You know what I mean? The video to me was monumental. The song was monumental. Those bars were monumental. Tawana Brawley being in the video was monumental at that time. Just a dope time for me. Another PE joint, Black Still in the Hour of Chaos. I got to be 14 in 88. So, the whole I got a letter from the government the other day. I opened and read it. They said they were suckers. They wanted me for their army or whatever. Picture me giving a damn. I said never. you know, I'm 14. I don't really know nothing about the Army like that. You know what I mean? I don't have parents that were like, I'm not POC. I don't got, you know, Black Panther parents. So I didn't know nothing about the Army or anything like that. So Chuck was always speaking to me like that. Another joint for me, illegal business. One of my young boys on the timeline had asked me the other day, like, yo, old head, I know you're always talking about that By Any Means Necessary album. Like, yo, I'm gonna check it out. You know, I was like, please do. But the lyrics that always stuck out for me, a guy named Jack is selling crack. The community doesn't want him back. He sells at work, he sells at school. He's not stupid. The cops are the fool. Because everyone else seems to go to jail, but when it comes to Jack, the cops just fail. They can't arrest him. They cannot stop him. Because even in jail, the bail unlocks him. So here's the deal and here's the fact. If you ever wonder why they can't stop crack, the police department is like a crew. It does whatever they want to do. In society, you have illegal and legal. We need both to make things equal. So legal is tobacco, illegal is speed, legal is aspirin, illegal is weed. Crack is illegal because they cannot stop you. But cocaine is legal if it's owned by a doctor. Everything you do in private is illegal. Everything's legal if the government can see you. Don't get me wrong, America's a great place to live, but listen to the knowledge I give. Again, I'm 14. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, yo, like, this stuff is just hitting me back and back and back and back. And I mean, like, when I think about that part of hip hop for me, to me, that's the culture. I don't read Malcolm X Speaks if it's not for these songs. I don't read the autobiography of Malcolm X if it's not for these songs. You know, I don't think the amount of people who went to go see Spike's Malcolm X goes to go see it without the hip hop culture and everything that was coming out at that time. Another joint I got is the Brand Nubians, Wake Up. Puba says, I guess I'm the verbalizer for the fact I'm moving backwards. This Asiatic black man is his dog spelled backwards. The maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, father civilization, God of the universe. Yeah, exactly. Speak on it, God. You know what I mean? So for me, that was just crazy because, you know, I'm in Philly, a huge Muslim population. We all know in Philly, but you know, when it came to, you know, to the 5% nation, you know, I wasn't seeing the guys on the earth like that where I was at, you know, in Philly. So the Wake Up video was the first time like I really saw that. You know what I mean? I would always hear Kane say Assalamu alaikum and, you know, Rakim say it here and there and say little things. But, you know, Brand Nubians was the first time like that, just everything just hit me like that. Like, it was like, wow. And then the last one I got is J. Rue the Damager with You Can't Stop the Prophet, you know, because that like just took me away right there. And I mean, the whole, you know, I leap over lies in a single brown. Who are you, the Black Prophet? One day I got struck by knowledge of self. They gave me super scientific powers. Now I run through the ghetto, battling my arch nemesis, Mr. Ignorance. Like, that to me was just crazy. And because at that time it's 1994, and by then, you know, any type of positivity in hip hop had been played out by then. You know, and Vern, you spoke about the book, you know, No Half Stepping is actually written by Paradise Gray, who was a member of X-Clan who ran the Latin Quarters in New York. And for years, I always thought that Public Enemy was the reason that there was a shift between wearing gold and wearing African medallions. Because it literally is like one day you would watch TV and everybody would have truck jewels on, and then like the very next day, no one was wearing jewelry, and it was all about the African medallions. And for years, I gave that prop to Chuck. But Paradise talks about it in here, how so many people were getting robbed in the Latin Quarters. And so there was so much black on black crime going on at the time that they changed it and said, yo, if you want to get in the Latin Quarters, no more truck jewelry. You got to have an African medallion on, which makes sense because it comes from the culture. The culture is going to come from the streets, and then it comes over to us. The reason why I'm saying that is because it became a time that it was whack to talk about stuff positive anymore, you know? And when we talk about J. Rue, we see how quick they got him up out of here. You know what I mean? Because he only had 2 albums. And I mean, J. Rue, I mean, on the second album, he's basically talking about Puff. He's dissing all that shit. You know what I mean? And we talk about that divide in hip hop because it's funny. I talk to people around 96, 97, and they'll say, I've heard a lot of people say, yo, I wasn't fucking with Jay-Z and Biggie and them because of what they were talking about. Then I also hear a lot of people that was like, I wasn't fucking with De La and J. Rue because they was hating on, you know, the stuff that Biggie and Jay was talking about. So like, that's that split in hip hop. And, you know, it's crazy because you have so many people who never heard Stakes is High, or you never got people who never heard Hard Knock Life because of that split. Why do you think it got played out? And Nathaniel, I want to start with you because my question to you, bro, is what made you want to make an album for Black History Month? You know what I mean? With songs for every day and put it out for free.
I just felt it was necessary, man. I think I was telling you earlier, like when I want to hear something new, I don't really listen to anything on the radio or anything, man. Like, so when I want to hear something new, I make it. And that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted, man. I wanted music that was uplifting. I wanted music that was inspiring. I wanted music that spoke about Black love, Black women. I wanted music that would give something other than what is widely accepted as the popular thing right now. So much of the music is degrading to women, and particularly Black women. I wanted to showcase the beauty of Black women, and don't get me wrong, the sex stuff is a part of it too, but when that's overemphasized, man, we start over sexualizing our women and they start looking at themselves differently. So I think all of it is part of it, man. I wanted, and don't get me wrong, all of my music is like that. But I wanted to do a project that was like 100% super deep in the trenches of all Black things, all Black issues. And I wanted to make it abundantly clear that I was making this for Black people. I mean, anybody can listen to it, of course. It's there, but no question about who it was for, man. I felt like we needed that, and I wanted to make it free. I wanted it to be easy to get, easily accessible. So that's why it's not on Spotify, it's not on iTunes, it's not on whatever, because those are all platforms that you got to pay in some way to get it. And I wanted the project to be free and available to everybody, man. So I made it only available on my Bandcamp. You can just go download it for free.
All right. No doubt. Porsche, tell me this, sis. Why do you think, positive music got played out? Like you said you wanted to bring up a point, early on, and you kind of touched on it. So why do you think that is? When all this music goes back to 88, 89, the Illegal Business, 88, Fight the Power, 89, Black Still, 88, Brand Nubians, 90, even J-Roo, 94. Why do you think it's played out now?
I don't actually know. I think what I was trying to bring up before was I'm not sure how it's going to be for hip hop and for music and for fans 15, 20 years into the future. So in like 2040, they're going to look back and be like, oh my God, the 2020 riots were going on and this was happening. Like, where's the music that reflects that? And who do we have reflecting that? Like Nick Cannon? Like, I like, you know what I mean? Like LL Cool J did something quick and whatever. Like, I don't know why that is, but I think maybe it might be because it's already been done and it's been done so well. See, here's the thing. And I have to bring this up, and I'm sorry that I constantly bring up Drake, but I have to because I'm sorry.
How, Porsche? How did you find a way to bring Drake in right here?
How I brought it up, because I always get crucified for my championing of Tupac, right? And people will say, nah, Tupac doesn't speak to me. Tupac's trash. Tupac is he was a poet. He wasn't a lyricist. He's not an MC. He's not this. He's not that. His albums, he can't make a good album. But then in that same person or those same people will rank Drake third best ever. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, where is your greatest? Where is your favorite right now speaking to you, addressing these things? Like Tupac's Changes, this is the song that this was released on his Greatest Hits album back in 98. And all I see right now is videos of protests with changes on as the music for it. Like, where are these favorites of yours that you guys go to war for that are not providing anything of quality? Like, because his ghostwriter's unavailable? Like, I don't get it. Like, this is wild to me. So I don't know that it's played out. I think that it's been done so well, and these like Public Enemies, It Takes a Nation, and Fear of a Black Planet are gonna stand the test of time always. Like, these are things that will always be relevant for the next like 50, 60 years. I can bet my life on that. And I think that people right now, and we talked about it at the beginning of the show, I don't know that MCs right now are capable of making music that is timeless like that. I think they can make music that has relevancy for a period of time, but not a timeless album. That's just me. And I know Nathaniel said that he thinks they are capable and the quality can be drawn on. I personally don't see it. And I don't know if I'm being harsh or hard on these MCs, but where is the changes of 2020? Where is the changes of 2016? Where is it? Where is It Takes a Nation of Millions of 2015? Where is it? Because I'm still pulling from 88, 89, 91, 96, 97. So that's my whole thing with this topic. And I'm super passionate about it because it kills me. Like, people will champion these rappers that, like, where are they? Where the hell are these people? Like, can Cole do it? Absolutely. Can Kendrick do it? Absolutely. Where are they?
Right.
I mean, I think a great point that you make, and this is why I love the conversation, because it's making me think outside the box too. Because I think Vern hit a great point. You know, with Chuck, we got to remember Chuck. I'm 14 in '88. Chuck may have been 28, 29. Like, this is a grown man right now, you know, who's giving us these lyrics. You know, like, as much as I love Special Ed, he wasn't making me read Malcolm X speaks. You know, I mean, KRS had been homeless. He had, you know what I mean? These people had lived some lives. You know, you got to live to be able to really, you got to be able to live some to be able to talk about some of this stuff. You know what I mean? And I think that I'm seeing too now, like, I don't know if, you know, I'm y'all know I love Griselda, and I'm sure, you know, Conway can give us a verse about, you know, George Floyd and I Still Can't Breathe. I don't know if Conway can give us a whole album of pro-black, inspirational, uplifting music. You know what I mean? I don't. What's that, bro?
His audience won't receive it. You remember the show we had about
are you willing to change?
About, like, Pusha, Coke rap,
right?
Yes,
right,
yes.
Right.
So, I mean, they fallen into a groove that's obviously working for them, and not to single him out, but most artists, you know, you get on for hey whatever, and that's selling. Why change it? You know, so I think it's in this regard, it's the chicken or the egg. You know, if the artist does do it, especially if they're known for something else, they're not switching that mix. Right.
And then I also wonder too, because to me it got played out because to me the man in 91 and 92 said, yo, this shit is getting out of hand. You know what I mean? Like, Chuck D was rallying too many people. We don't need no fight the power marches and rallies and, you know, we got people. I remember when they premiered, by the time I get to Arizona, about them going into Arizona and killing white folk because they didn't want to make Martin Luther King's birthday a national holiday. Like, I remember that video, and it was to the point, like, yo, being a shorty, I guess I'm 16, 17 at that time, I really thought they were going to try and kill Chuck. Like, I was really like, yo, these folk are going to kill this man because he is too much power. And to me, it just disappeared like that. It was like Public Enemy went from the best shit ever to, you know, we on the NWA, and I always call it my Heineken and Blunt era. We're on in the Heineken Blunt era now. And I love it how Common broke it down on how I used to love it, because that's really the timeline of our culture. You know what I mean? Yeah, she was pro-black for a while, but then somebody said, nope, we gotta get some asses. What more saying Purple Rain? We gotta get some asses shaking and some titties wiggling or whatever it was. Like that's what we need right now.
Yeah.
Right. We need perfection right now. Like that's what happened. And everybody sat back and said, because I always tell people this, and it's why I hold Chuck in such a high regard, because he never changed who he was.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have Intelligent Hoodlum, who was arrested president. He's the drug dealer. And then fast forward 4 years, he's Tragedy Gaddafi, and he's a coke dealer in Queens now, because now that's what I got to do to get on. So somebody said, you know what? We are no longer promoting this music. Labels don't do it. We ain't promoting this shit. Right. You know, we need to get back into the essence of what Snoop and Dre talking about. Bitches ain't shit. I like that. What we need to talk about: rat-a-tat-tat, guns, killing people.
That's what I'm
Go
saying.
Ahead.
So you just said the labels made that decision. That doesn't necessarily mean that the art has gone away. That just means that the art has been buried. You know what I mean? The big money pushes what sells. It doesn't mean that the art is not there. It's harder to find it, but it 100% is there. 100% is there. It's difficult, no question. You got to wade through a whole bunch of foolishness. There's no doubt about it. But like, check it out. You say it's difficult to make an entire album that way. It's not difficult to make a whole album that way. I just made a whole album that way in February, but who knows about it? You understand what I'm saying? If you go check it out, I guarantee you, NathanielStar.bandcamp.com, download El Negro, listen to every single song, and then you tell me what you think. Every single song.
This, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I'm saying, I had to say this on Twitter too. I'm talking about the signed artists, the big artists that we know.
Well,
you know what I mean? And the reason why the reason why I'm saying that is, you know, and what I mean by you can't make it is it's like this. I'm not really big into politics. So guess what? If political rap came in and I'm a rapper, I'm either gonna have to get to know my politics or I'm not gonna sound intelligent if I talk about it. You see what I'm saying? Right. So that's why it's like what I'm saying for a lot of these younger MCs is that, like Vern said, a lot of us, my moms came out of the civil rights movement. My moms came from that. You know, somebody who's 18, their moms ain't come from civil rights. So I don't know, you know, so the things that some of our parents were teaching us aren't being taught to the younger generation. Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm
busting open.
Right.
So you got a whole group of people that are making music now that was raised on Nuck If You Buck. Like, how deep are you expecting them to really be? You know what I'm saying?
And that's that's exactly what I'm saying. Is that from but from this conversation, I'm realizing that you know, can I expect everybody to be able to rap like this? And I can't, because even when we look at the good old days, at the end of the day, there was still maybe only 10 to 12 groups out of maybe 60. You know what I mean? It's not like when you turned on Rap City, every single song was pro-black. Right. You know what I mean? Kane is super duper rapper ever, but that nigga wasn't no pro-black rapper. You know what I mean? Kane, Biz, the whole fucking Juice Crew for that matter, you know, wasn't pro-black. So we only had BDP, we had X-Clan, we had Public Enemy. You had people who came and went, like King's Son, he was pro-black. But I mean, at the core of it, you're looking at 5 groups, you know what I mean, who were also that old. And like you were saying, Nathaniel, once the labels say that's not cool, but I am wondering, like, for instance, and I was saying this on Twitter, when Kendrick Lamar did that Control verse where he was talking about, you know, he named all them rappers, everybody on Twitter, oh, I'm going to the studio tomorrow. I got a verse for him. I'm coming back at that. Yo, where the studio? What time the studio open? I mean, Joel Ortiz had an answer. Everybody had an answer for Kendrick Lamar. Now, motherfucker don't know where the studio at. Don't nobody who was coming up with bars and I think Joel gave Kendrick. I mean, and didn't matter because nobody paid attention to it. Like 150 bars. So that's where I'm like, that's so yeah.
That's easy to do. Like it's easy to do that type of stuff, battling and all of that stuff. That aggression, that stuff is easy, bro. Like it doesn't take a whole lot of thought, man. Like, but it takes a whole lot of thought to be able to talk about things that are heavier than surface level information, man. When you start talking about stuff that affects your community and you get actually it's more of an emotional thing. You don't to attack somebody lyrically or whatever, man. That's almost that's like breathing, man. If you're any kind of MC, that's easy to do. But to talk about what's going on in your community and how to effectively make that community better, man, it's always easier to destroy than it is to build up. But I feel like one of the things we can't do, man, is act like, because you just mentioned it. I think a lot of times we look back at some of the older stuff and we're like, oh yeah, you got to go back and you got to go back. But like you just mentioned, it's never been popular, even back when with the people that you're pulling from. Like you said, it was a very small group of people.
It was popular, but it was popular in the 80s.
No, but what I mean popular, I mean like popular, like everybody's doing it. That's what I mean by popular. It's never been that. Like there's a time period where there were more people doing it than there are now, obviously. But it's never been like the super go thing to do. Like it's just never been, man.
Well, see, I think that's where to me, that's where we disagree, because in 87, 88, everybody, even if you couldn't make a whole album, this goes back to what you can do. See, when I look at MC, I always look at skills as a whole. Same thing as a basketball player. Everybody ain't a Lamar Odom. Everybody can't guard the point, guard the two, play the three, do all of those things. So LeBron, the MCs, it was popular. Yeah, LeBron. It was popular, but everybody couldn't do it for every song. That's the thing. And to me, even as an artist, you know, the artists I'm working with, the indie artists I'm working with, I'm sending out beats and cats is like, yo, I got so much on my mind, Kill, send me a beat right now. So I don't know if I just hold MCs to a higher standard. Like, yo, if you could write all day long and you talk about your pen game, then let me see your pen game go to work when it really counts. I'm not saying it's going to be easy for you to talk about it, but if you're really frustrated by this, sit down and get a pen and pad and put your skills to the test. And again, that's just that's my thing of an MC. If you're an MC, then MC.
For real.
What happened?
I think it's all easy for real, man. You should be able to do it. If that's what you do, that's what you do.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing that I'm like, you know, and again, I'm not even those people that's like, yo, where's Oprah? Where's Tyler Perry? Why ain't nobody making those statements? I don't even care about all that. But I'm just saying, like, I just feel like you got to give me something. You know what I mean? And like Poor said, like, what are people going to pull from? I guess in 2040, we still going to be going back to 1988, you know, because here's the problem. God forbid if we don't get more artists like you. And if we don't not only get more artists like you, but if we don't get artists like your work to be known, then we're always going to be going back, because I totally agree with you.
That's the key.
Right. But I guess that's the thing. And I don't know if it gets figured out on this show, but it's how do we get indie artists? Like, cause see, I hold in somebody will say Joe Buttons is indie when he was on a Magnum Digital. And I'm like, no, Joe Buttons wasn't an indie artist. You know, he just wasn't with a major label. When I say indie artists in 2020, I'm talking the DistroKid rappers. I'm talking about, and that's no disrespect to nobody. I'm not saying like that, but I'm just saying that's the indie artist right now who may not have the budget to pay two dope boys 2 G's to put up their new song on the front page that's only going to be on the front page for like 8 hours. And by the next day, you buried on page 3, and now you 2 G's, you know, shorter, you know. So I think that's the whole thing. Vern, Ed, Greg, everybody jump in. Like, you know, just jump on in and give me some thoughts.
You know, I feel, you know, there's artists, like you said earlier, there's artists that don't have the range. And there's artists that, like I said earlier, I would prefer not speak on it, but there's artists that can, and you know, it's crazy that, you know, they're silent at this point. Now for J. Cole, I mean, I think we've all seen J. Cole, you know, in the process and stuff. So I kind of give him a pass, because, you know, he feels like what he's doing to him is more important than going out there making a song. He's still making a difference. So I'm not going to put that on him, but you know, there are other artists, you know. One thing I wanted to bring fair,
sorry, just to be clear and fair, Eddie, on that point is, I don't know what like Kendrick is doing every day. I don't know what these artists are doing. I'm just saying that if people need material and people need to reflect what's happening and capture this climate, now is the time. And that becomes like a time capsule because PE and like Tupac and Boogie Down Productions, that's what they did. They captured what they saw, where they were. And now we get to experience that whether we were there or not. And they did a very good job articulating it. And I apologize for interrupting you, Eddie. Go ahead.
No problem. No problem. I'll take it another step. So I know Pharaoh and South P came out with a joint. I haven't heard the joint yet, but honestly, I expect a Pharaoh Monch to drop a song. But Pharaoh Monch, like he's already an old school artist. He's a veteran. We're the voices of this generation. Because they're not the artists that we grew up with. Nope. We're the younger artists. You're
not going to get those younger artists because they don't speak on substance as it is in the first place. So their way is to go out and fuck shit up. They're not going to talk about it. They're going to go out here and fuck shit up. That's how they're going to talk to you about it. And then they might come back and say, yeah, we was out there in the riots fucking shit up, but they're not going to go out and make a song first. They're going to go and show you that I'm going to go burn up all this shit. And then I'm going to come back and write the shit. So that way it's just, they're backwards as from a standpoint of, we might have shown a little bit more respect, maybe some restraint, just because, like Kill said, our parents came from the civil rights era. So we might not have fucked shit up at first. These kids are going to fuck shit up first. Period. Point.
And I think the bigger problem is just across music. I said this a while ago on Twitter. I said, what is Naomi going to get married to? Like, what song is she going to be on her first dance to from this generation? You know what I mean? Like, of course, Naomi's been in the studio with me since she was born. So, of course, she knows all the good. She knows, all the good stuff. But I'm talking about one of my teens in Southeast DC. And I used to ask my girls this, like, I didn't ask them this, but I wonder, like, back in the day for me, it was like, yo, your shorty come over, you putting on some old Keith Sweat, you putting on, some nice making love music. What's some poor girl gonna lose her virginity to nowadays? You know what I mean? Like, probably, and I asked one of my interns that, and he's like, oh, Kill, you gotta dig, you gotta go in the crates of E22, you gotta dig. I said, nigga, do me this justice. Make me a playlist with 12 songs that talks about love. I want the word love in these 12 songs. He's like, I got you, old head. Don't you even worry. The first song everybody brings up is that Daniel Caesar, her song. Now, I forgot the name of it.
Best part. The best part.
Right. Everybody tell that's they go to. That's they go to.
That's they one.
After that one, it's like Daniel Caesar's gonna have a great career when he retires because every motherfucker is gonna be like, yo, come sing at my wedding. You're the only person who can sing at my wedding.
You'll get that toll money.
I'm just like, but it comes back to again that I guess it's what the labels push, but then I guess it's also what the people demand for or what the people want to hear. Like, I don't even know as a person, like, who am I supposed to go to complain about that I don't have any Nathaniel Starr music, on the radio? Is it still calling the radio stations? Because now people don't even listen to the radio; they listen to Spotify. So do I have to email Spotify? Like, how do we even? How now, like with Black Lives Matter, you got everybody on Instagram, like, call these people and this your congressman and call. Like, who do we call to say we want more positive music? Who do we? Where do we? How does that change? Like, we see the problem. And like Nathaniel said in the beginning, it's like, yo, Kill, that's the question. That's the question of the century. But how do we do that, y'all? How do we get it to where we're not sitting here sounding like the old man? And I told people, I don't mind being old man, nigga. I am the old man. Like, get off my grass, nigga. You know how much I just spent at Home Depot? So I ain't got no problem telling somebody get off my grass. I just spent, Vern, I know y'all probably driving over there. When people like, Kill, you be get off my lawn. Yeah, you goddamn right. Get the fuck off my lawn. Like, I dead ass. Stay open. I don't pay too much money for this lawn to have y'all walking back. But not sounding like the old men, but how do we do that? Nathaniel, tell me, man, what has been your hustle to try to get more people to get to your music? Because I'm assuming this has to be the most frustrated part as an indie artist. I'm sorry, Vern, you want to say something real quick?
Hold on, I'm pulling up the chair.
He was trying to listen.
He pulling up the chair. Like this is the hardest problem. Like, Nathaniel, what do you do to try to get your stuff out there?
Right. Man, like I said, I don't have the answer, man. I'm not some super overpopular artist, that's for sure. I definitely have some people that rock with me overseas. Some people rock with me in Canada, Africa, you know, in the DC area. But I'm not some super crazy person that, you know, I don't got 1 million followers, man. Like my presence isn't crazy on social media stuff, man. I just put music out, man, and it falls into the hands of the people that it falls into the hands of. Like, so I'm not overly worried. Like, this is my thing. Like, so ultimately, man, with me, I make music that I like. You know what I mean? I don't really care what other people like. I make music that I like, and it just so happens that other people have liked it when they've heard it. You know what I mean? I don't know that there is a surefire way to be heard by the masses quickly anymore. The labels control that. You know what I mean? That's why everything that you hear is like that. You have the ability to be out there amongst the masses, but it's very difficult to separate yourself from the power. I don't know what the answer to that is, man. I don't know that there is an answer to it other than go sell your soul to one of these major labels and they have you all over the place, but then your music has changed because now you can't make the stuff that you want to make, but you have to make what's popular and what they say you have to make for 4 albums. I turned down 2 record deals in my past, $1 million deals in my past for 2 different reasons. But one was that I wasn't going to compromise myself, and the other was I can't really get into it, but I can definitely say without a shadow of a doubt, it's easy to put music out. It's not easy to be heard. The easiest way to be heard is to align yourself with the people who can push your music out there. And it's unfortunate because people are missing out on a lot of good music. I heard you just mention what music of today is somebody that's going to lose their virginity to. Like, in a couple of weeks, I have a whole project called Eros. The name of it is Eros. It's the goddess of love. I'm a singer first, like I said. But who will hear it? I don't know. But I know it's incredible. You know, like I don't really mince words when it comes to my music because I know that it's good. I don't need nobody's approval, and I know that it's good. And you know, but the difficult thing, as we mentioned before, when we're having this conversation, man, is that making other people hear it. Because I've never had anybody come to me and say, "Yo, that's whack," because I would say it's whack before, and then you would never hear it. You know what I mean? Because I'm my biggest critic. But the problem is making people hear your stuff. It's oversaturated, man. Every market is oversaturated. It doesn't matter what the genre is. You could be a singer, you could be EDM, you could be hip hop, you can be a punk artist, you could be ska, it doesn't matter what you are. It's oversaturated. Because it's so easy to put music out. Like you said, all you need is DistroKid or something, and you out there with everybody else. There is no easy answer, man. Sell your soul. And wait for people to talk about it.
Here's the crazy thing. 2 things, just to co-sign what he said. Nathaniel Starr, very dope artist. Last Friday, I'm pissed. You know, everything is going on. Usually I make music, and I was like, I don't feel like making nothing. And I don't know how I came across this, bro. I came across you singing PJ Morton's. God, which joint is that? It's off the Gumbo album. But you were singing that dude was playing the piano. Well, that PJ Morton
they don't want to come.
They don't want to come. And bruh, I was so inspired. I've been in the studio ever since. That's why I reached out to you that night to talk about the song, because that's the beat I made. Because I was like, yo, I want to cook up something, you know. So definitely just to co-sign that he's dope. You know what I mean? I mean, I was dead on. I had no inspiration whatsoever to even think about making any music last week after everything that was going on, and that's usually my getaway. And when I heard him, and I just kind of stayed on your IG page, I was probably up at 4 or 5 in the morning making music based off of what I was hearing from your IG page. And 2, I think, you know what's funny, Porsche? And here's the thing, y'all know me, I don't believe in coincidences. The night my Twitter account got suspended, I was coming home to call Porsche to say, yo, would you be down to start something with me where we're helping to promote artists? You know what I mean? So that, you know, I got these 10,000 followers. It ain't a rack, but I got these 10,000 followers. I got people's ears. I want to promote artists. It's not going to be for no pay. I don't want nothing. It's literally going to be to promote artists and get them out there. And that night, my Twitter account gets suspended, and I've never gotten it back since. You know what I mean? And I don't believe in anything happening, you know, by coincidence. You know what I mean? And I think that when we talk about things like this, of how we can change this, that's how you have to change this. You know what I mean? The people, like, if you had a Stephen A. Smith who has 1 million followers, if Stephen A. Smith, you know, got his young nephew or his young, you know, his young boy on the side to say, yo, man, I'm going to have artists send us music. And every week on my podcast, I'm going to shout out an indie artist. DistroKid, we ain't talking about nobody. We ain't doing no Griselda. We ain't doing no Daniel Caesar. It's all indie artists. And you knew every Friday at the end of Stephen A.'s podcast, he was going to do that. That's what we need to get these artists out here. And the problem is that I don't know why we don't have more people doing that. I don't think I'm that smart of a person, y'all. So I don't think this idea is the most original idea in the world. So I just don't know why we don't have Bomani on ESPN. He always wants to talk about music. You know, all these people who have these huge masses of followers, I don't understand why they won't do. You know, when I first got into Twitter, people were talking about people charge you for a retweet. I'm like, God damn, like people are charging people for a retweet.
Charge you for a retweet.
Like this, charge you for a retweet. And this was back when I first got into Twitter back in 10 and 11. You know what I mean? So I know they charging for a retweet in 20. You know what I mean? But that's what I mean by, like, you know, you have these artists, but the problem is that we don't have a partnership with, again, the powers that be. Like I said, the blogs that started off on some old Joe, this is for the culture, have now turned into the machine. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's the problem. Like, everybody adheres to the machine. They go to the money, and it's like this art is being left, and nobody's hearing it. You know, so it's frustrating, but it's just funny because, like I said, Porsche, that night I was coming, and I don't know if you remember, I DM'd you, and I was like, yo, are you down with this? And Porsche was like, yo, that would be dope. And then bam, that night, account suspended, can't get it back. You know what I mean? And it's just like, yo, again,
for what? That's crazy.
This is the crazy part. It got suspended like before, because when I would cut my kids' hair for free, I may, you know, throw some music in the background, you know, me giving a haircut, you know, to my kids. And, you know, they was like, yo, that's copyright, you know, violation, whatever. So, you know, I went through the steps I had to go through. In 7 days, I got the account back. I went through, deleted everything that had anybody else's music in it. I was good for 2 years. Then, like, out of nowhere, Monday, they was like, yo, you used the Jasmine Sullivan song. She did a joint for Insecure. And I used that, I guess, somewhere. And yo, I got the first alert at 5 o'clock, and by 9 o'clock that night, my account was suspended. I did everything I did last week to get it back. 2 weeks went by, a month went by, 2 months. Now it's been 4 months. I even had Yow's man who worked at Twitter looking into it for me. And so again, I just don't believe in coincidences. That the bigger picture is, Porsche, we was trying to help people. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I don't know if folk do it. I believe in spiritual warfare every day. And, you know, now just sitting here through this, it's just like, man, yeah, you know, that's crazy. Yeah, so that's crazy, because that's what we need. Because the only reason why we got Chuck D was because he was on Def Jam. You know, if Chuck D was on 4th and Broadway, he's not, we don't know probably Public Enemy the way we do now. He was on Def Jam, and BDP was on Job. You know what I mean? And we don't know BDP if they're on some indie sleeping bag records, you know, or whatever like that. So it's just crazy, man. And it's frustrating because
back then, back then also, like when you read stories, making music was not convenient. And that's what I kind of don't understand about right now, because everybody's got access to studios like, I don't know what we want to call it, or software that allows them to record and kind of do it on their own, and they don't need to actually like transport things. Like, I'm reading a book right now, Rakim told me, and each chapter is an album, like a classic album. And I'm reading these like accounts of what's going on with these albums, and these guys are taking on the B train in New York, and they're carrying turntables with them with like this gear to go down to the studio, and now they have to take this stuff all back. So they spent 3 days in the studio cooking up stuff because they know it's such a chore to get their shit there. So, and they were able to make music of this caliber. Now, when it's so convenient, like I have a very hard time understanding where the disconnect is. Like, what is happening with artists, and why is it hard to find? Because we have all this technology. Yes, we don't have the labels, but like, I don't know. Is there other platforms that can weed out all of the crap? And I don't know. Can someone create a platform? We've got some brains out there that can create software and filters and things like that. So, anyways.
So
you gonna say, Vern?
Go ahead.
No. Were you gonna say, Vern, real quick, and then we'll get to you, Nathaniel?
I just think it comes to a level of respect, and I don't want to broad brush and say everybody that's out here now doesn't respect music, but a lot of them don't respect music. Going back to the times gone by, when, they were musicians. They played instruments. You learn bars. You learn half notes, quarter notes, all that stuff helps in you crafting your music. You have a respect for the game. It's kind of like Jordan was one of the most fundamental players of all time, but because he was fundamental, then he can create. Now they're just creating, but they don't have no fundamentals to pull from, right. and that's why there's no depth to it, no soul. There ain't no onto it. I mean, a lot of these emoji girl singers out here, these whisper singers, they like Kill. You talk about it. Mm-hmm. You didn't cut your teeth in the choir stand. You was the fourth alto watching Sister Sheila tear it up on a Sunday, and you grew your way up to that. Then you were Jasmine Sullivan. Now it's nothing to it, no depth to it. And I think that goes for. I mean, how can you be an MC but you don't know words? You don't read.
It's true.
You don't have you don't have a love for books and reading because those words, Fonte can say, "I'm gonna cut your head off like the sword of Damocles." What? I mean, I can only talk about my Rolly, my Lambo. Your subject matter won't have any depth because you don't have any depth. And I think overall, that's what it is. I mean, gatekeepers wasn't necessarily a great thing, but it was a good thing too. You didn't go from home to rocking the show. Now you put one song on your laptop, it goes viral on YouTube. You doing shows, but you didn't go carry the crates for 3 years and cut your teeth and get co-signed by Kane and and Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying? And open for him when he was go change the clothes so you can learn how to rock a stove, so you can learn how to entertain a crowd and craft a song and all that. You just instantly out there and it's telling because you haven't lived, you haven't learned and experienced those things. And to me, that's what's missing in all music. I mean, it's there, bro. Nathaniel, it's there. I mean, people I listen to, Musinas, Eric Roberson, all those type of people. It's out there. We just got to look for it. But as a overall, the machine ain't pushing that because it's easier to find the flavor of the month, little fill in the blank, and let him get his 15 minutes, and then go find another little fill in the blank and keep watch, rinse, and repeat. And that's what's plaguing music right now.
Yeah. What you gonna say, Nathaniel?
Basically echoing what Vern said. And when Portia was mentioning, we could create some kind of software or something. That's when you start getting into being a gatekeeper, right? I don't necessarily think being a gatekeeper was a bad thing either. I mean, it made it, at least you knew that it had to go through a filter before it was presented to people. Now you might not have liked the end product because the subject matter might not have been what you desired, but generally speaking, the people had skills. There's no filter now, right? there's zero filter. Like everything is just it's a straight rush to the front. There's nobody saying, nah, that's whack, nah, that's trash. And everybody thinks that everything that they make is good. I mean,
say that you can't tell
Right.
the kids that they might need to go and change that verse, or nah, that's not good. They think every time they create something, everything
hottest
they
thing ever.
create,
Right. You wrote 10 songs and put 10 songs on your album. No, dog, you wrote
Right.
40 and picked the best 10.
right?
Right.
They think everything is a classic. We talk about this all the time. There is
Exactly.
they don't think they have room for improvement. You know,
And that's the thing. So, but you say you make 40 songs and you get down to the 10. That's the process of the gatekeepers. That's what the Quincy Joneses did to Michael Jackson. That's what those gatekeepers did. We didn't just rush out there, whatever you blurt out, and now you got 10 songs of that, and there you go. Nah, like this is trash, bro. You gotta hit that again. Like that's not it.
Right.
But nobody's doing that because stuff is so accessible, because of studios, because the software is there, because you don't need anybody to make music per se, and you can put it out to the masses. You know what I'm saying? Like
the second
gatekeepers are good. They can also be bad when they control every aspect of it, and all you're getting is this type of music that's not talking about anything positive or constructive or whatever. But it's a give and take. It's a give and take. But I mean, I definitely feel like some kind of gatekeeping is necessary. It's too much going on right now. That's not it.
And here's the funny thing, because I'm loving what everybody's. I'm sorry, Ed. You want to say something? I don't want to.
No, I was just saying. No, I definitely agree with everything Nathaniel just said.
Here's the funny thing, Vern. What you was talking about growing up in the church is funny because it's so many singers who I know that are our age or in their 30s. They're like, I never had a singing lesson. I was like, you grew up in the church? They were like, yeah. I was like, oh, you had plenty of singing lessons. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know you had singing lessons, but trust me, choir rehearsal Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and singing every Sunday for 11 years of your life. You got, and that's the thing. You don't have that. These artists don't have that. And of course, the question that I got from hearing you talk is, here's the wild part. Do the artists even know they're supposed to make something? Like, that's it. Do they even know that I'm supposed to now write some, like, oh shit, this is what's going on?
Well,
I'm supposed to write something.
Well, here's the thing. So music is supposed to be reflective of experience, of...
Hold up for 1 second. I just want to point out a key word you just said, supposed to. But keep going.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's supposed to.
And I say supposed to based on the music that I've listened to always, right? Like they're drawing, like these lyrics that I have here from the songs from my list, they're all things that people were seeing around them, things that they were hearing about happening across the coast. They were hearing about or seeing firsthand. So they're reflecting that. And to me, like music is supposed to be, I said it before, like a time capsule. It's supposed to capture, like it's supposed to be a photograph in audio form. And for me, that's why I care so much about lyrics. And that's why I care about lyrics more than I care about beats, because for me, you're painting a picture with your words of what is happening that you see, your perspective in your little area or whatever big area, that's going to last forever. No one can take that away from you once it's on wax, and that's why I can't understand that they don't know, because what else do you want? Do you want to hear stories and then regurgitate them? Do you want a ghostwriter to write it for you because they experienced it 15 years ago? Like, I'm not sure what.
But here's
what
the part
more
why what I'm
artists want.
saying. But what I'm saying is why they may not know is, look at it like this. How do we know to go from first grade to second grade? How do we know to go from fifth grade to sixth grade? I'll give you a great example. When I went to Morgan, I didn't know nothing about credits or anything. So my mom was like, how many credits you take? I said 12. She's like, why don't you take more? It's 12 to 18 is the same price. I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if you have some kid who's born in 1995, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't know none about no Public Enemy, no BDP, no X-Clan, none of the stuff that we talking about. He grew up in the Cristal Champagne era. You know what I mean? So now that he's a rapper, I don't know if he knows I'm supposed to write something to reflect what's going on right now in this community. I don't know that because I was raised.
But my question would be, where do you draw inspiration from normally? From a champagne bottle? From the sound
Well,
of
here's the thing.
a champagne
Here's the
bottle
thing.
popping? Like what is it that sparks in you, oh my God, I need to go be creative right now? Because for me, like when I drive every day, I have the most beautiful scenery. I live in the most beautiful city in the world. Every single day that I drive to and from work or to the store, I see mountains all around me and greenery. I'm literally enveloped inside of mountains, the Rocky Mountains all around me. You don't know how many times sitting at a red light, I'm like, yo, I should just become a painter. I should just literally grab a canvas, some paint, sit on this sidewalk and just paint what I see. That's what it does. So for me, if you're an artist, what are you drawing inspiration from? What is speaking to you?
But if you're, I'm gonna get to you to say both of y'all. But if you're an artist who, again, is born in '95, the whole Champagne era was basically fake for the most part. Okay, you had rappers lying about it. You had indie artists.
Right.
I had people coming to my studio in college with a damn Comcast uniform on because people just got off work from going to class and going to work at Comcast, coming into my studio talking about popping bottles. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these artists would draw their inspiration from whatever's selling because, again, it's all about how you were raised. So if you're raised on music like, oh, you know, I'm black and I'm proud and Marvin's what's going on, and then we keep it going. And like you said, I agree with you 100% that music is supposed to do that. But if it's not taught to that next generation, do you know? I mean, if we did a Men in Black moment right now, just boom, BDP, PE, X-Clan, that whole movement never existed. I don't know if we're having this conversation right now about why aren't rappers talking about what they should be talking about, because we wouldn't have even known you're supposed to talk about that stuff because none of us were born and living when Marvin was singing what's going on. You know, none of us were around when James was singing I'm Black and I'm Proud and doing concerts in Boston. We weren't there. So if you take away PE, I don't know if people know that you're just supposedly innately supposed to do something. But I want to let Rec and Nathaniel get into. So Rec, what were you about to say?
I was gonna say I'm totally with you, Porsche, but their inspiration is not what our inspiration would be. Their inspiration could be because they broke or they don't have no other way to make no money. So they know that the quickest way, like Kill said, the quickest way to make money for them if they're gonna rap is to rap about what is popular. They're not gonna go out here and rap about anything of substance because they might not have the vernacular to speak about it. They can't rap about it. You know,
That's true.
Vern said it earlier. If they ain't picking up a book, they can't even write about it because they don't write their own rhymes in the first place.
That's true.
They put them in this.
They don't write.
Yeah, they put them in this and they read them back. So you asking them to do a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot for them to do that. For us, we can pick up a pen and pad and write out our thoughts. That's what we come from a standpoint of education. They don't come from that, and they're not going to write about that.
And I'm gonna get to you in one sec. Right, great point. Because my teens, you ask them to sit down and write how they feel.
Ain't doing that.
They
tell
can't.
you. They'll tell you, but to write it,
there you go.
Write what?
Yeah,
they not.
My teens. We could have a conversation for 2 hours, but if I put a pen and pad in front of them, they have no idea how to get their words out. When I first started in that neighborhood, I said something like, yo, we gonna do a family tree, y'all, because 20 years ago, I did family tree in these other projects. And now 10 years later, I said, let's do a family tree. And all my kids was like, Mr. Killer, I don't know who my dad is. I don't know that side of my family. And it showed me just how hard the hood shifted in 10 years. Because this was an assignment I could do 10 years ago. I can't do it no more. And even when I would ask my kids, like, yo, tell me what y'all want to talk about, they really couldn't talk. Like, and that's why I don't talk to my kids. I talk with them because I'll be like, yo, I don't get the suicide shit, y'all. We didn't kill ourselves growing up. So y'all explain to me why the fuck y'all jump in front of trains killing yourselves. And it gives them a chance to talk. But it took them months to be able, and they were like, yo, nobody ever asked us how we felt. Yeah. Like these questions you're asking us, my mom never asked me any of this stuff. Yeah. You know, and it's sad, but that really is, you know, a lot of the reality of what we're going through. Nathaniel, I know you want to say something.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think ultimately what it comes down to is a lot of artists, not just kids too, it's a lot of adults, man. They just they have very little social responsibility. I mean, you think about kids, man. A lot of these kids can't even write in cursive right now.
A lot of
Yeah.
Oh no, they
I
can't.
see that on a daily basis.
You know what I mean? So it's like we gotta realize too that we're dealing with kids that grew up in a world that being emotional is shunned. You got to bury your feelings.
Get you killed.
You soft if you out here in these streets acting like, you know what I mean, you care about stuff. And like Rec just said, it gets you killed out here. So not to say that people are a product of their environment, because your environment is what you choose to surround yourself in for the most part. But we can't act like they grew up in the world that was before them, because they didn't.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them can't express themselves the way that some of us can in the generation before me can. Like, but if you keep going back far enough, those men back at that time didn't express themselves well either. So I feel like it's just a cycle of stuff, man. You know, so. But if it is a cycle, eventually it will come back around to a point where we are having the type of stuff that we want to have. It's just, I feel like right now we in that uncomfortable stage of where that type of music, that type of energy, that type of vibe is scarce, man. It's disappointing to see, it's disappointing to be in this spot, but I mean, it's where we are. But in a lot of ways, man, we gotta admit we kind of created this ourselves too. We can't absolve ourselves from the responsibility. Like, I don't know a single kid that can go to school and teach themselves. Right. You're never going to learn algebra on your own like that. You're never going to learn trigonometry, calculus, analytical geometry. You're not going to learn this stuff by yourself.
Of course.
So if these kids have a void there, it's not because life didn't teach them, because life isn't always supposed to teach them. If we want them to have these qualities, and we got to do a better job of being, because shucks, we the gatekeepers, right? So we got to we got to do better with instilling that. And I know you do a whole lot of work in DC, like you just mentioned. So I'm not saying you per se, but I'm saying we collectively as a generation have to do better if we want these kids to do better. It's impossible. They can't teach themselves. They can't raise themselves. Right. And if they try to, this is what you got. You dig what I'm saying? This is what you get.
And the huge point that you make that's so deep is that when we look at how, I know at least in my household, in most Black households, there was one stereo in the house. So you listened to what your parents listened to.
That's right.
Yep.
When you got in the car, you listened to what they was listening to.
That's right.
Now, again, if I had my own Beats by Dre and I could literally go in the house and just put on whatever I wanted to hear, I probably don't have the appreciation I have for Luther, for Anita Baker, for a lot of these artists that my parents would listen to. I don't have the appreciation for that because I just zoned it out as soon as I, came in the house. And that's how a lot of our kids are being raised. And you're 100% right. This is why I challenge people. I always tell people, you can't tell me you love the culture, but you don't teach your kids about it. You can't tell me you love, because guess what? I love God. I taught Naomi about God. I love hip hop. I teach Naomi about hip hop. I love basketball. I teach Naomi about basketball. You got a lot of hip hop heads out here who kids don't know shit about hip hop. And I'm like, how do you love the culture so much? Even when people are like, yo, why do you keep going back and forth with these young people? To a certain extent, it's the educator at me. I'm an educator at heart. So I don't ever want anybody to be like, I ain't know no better. My pastor taught me my job.
It's your responsibility.
Yeah, it's my, and I feel like my pastor taught me, your job is to tell people their house is on fire, not to pull them out. That's all. So my job is just to say, this is what y'all should be listening to. I ain't gonna make you listen to it. I ain't gonna keep tweeting you every day. Do you listen to it? My job is to tell you what to do. It is now up to you to do it. Now, the problem is a lot of our kids now, nobody ever told them what to do. So like Nathaniel was saying, it's on us because nobody told them. They can literally sit back and say, my job is working with my kids. I got 13 kids locked up for 3 different murders right now. None of them niggas in there could ever be like, yo, kill and tell me this. Kill and tell me that. I sleep good at night because I know I did everything that I could for those kids. So it does come back to what's up.
Since you made an excellent point where you say nobody's telling them anything. So you take a whole life of nobody telling you anything, and all of a sudden somebody wants to come and give this information. What's the initial response? Like, I'm not listening to that. And that's what you get. Right. That's what you get. I'm not just speaking generally. I mean, specifically only to music. It's just period. That's the way the mind works. Like, if you haven't been around, we got a saying, if you weren't in the gym shooting with me, what can you? Come on. I'm not trying to hear what you're talking about. So The whole thing is like, if nobody's been teaching these kids from Jump Street, it's very difficult for them to receive information on the back end of it. They're not open for it. So that stuff starts early, man. Like you said, you mentioned some cats, hip hop kids, and they're not teaching their kids. Well, their kids are gonna grow and not want to be taught. So when somebody comes with some information that could be beneficial, or oh man, check this out, man. What? Oh, hey, get out. You know what I mean? That's the energy that you're greeted with all the time. So it starts.
I always say it's the same thing. You raise your kids in church, they know church. You can't just get saved and now try and drag your 14-year-old kid to church every day. They're gonna come kicking and screaming every Sunday. Like, I don't want to go here. I don't know nothing about this. The funny thing is like you said, and it's how I trick my kids. Because when my kids get in my car, I'm like, let me play something for you. And I'll play Nas's I Gave You Power. And then they get to the end, they be like, oh shit, Mr. Kill. So he was a gun. And I'm like, yeah. Can your favorite rapper do that? And they be like, nah. You know what I mean? So I go at them a different way. I don't go at them like, yo, your rappers are whack. No, I just let you listen to some of mine. And then I'm going to ask you, can yours do what mine just did? And it's like, nah. I've never had a kid be like, oh, hell yeah, Future could do that shit right there. They're like, nah, they can't. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to shit on their music. And then the other thing about gatekeepers, the great thing is that we need cultural gatekeepers. Because whenever I think of gatekeepers, I think of the people in the industry like, no. I think about my man Shadi, Finat, and their brother Raheem. They grew up in Brooklyn. They were talking about growing up in the 80s. If you said you wanted to be an MC in New York, number one, you had to be the nicest MC in your house. Like, before you could even step foot out on your block to say I'm a rapper, you had to be nice enough to be in there with your brothers or whatever like that. And then you had to be the nicest person on your block before you go into another neighborhood and say I'm an MC. There was a process for this, Greg, what I'm talking about, playing ball. Unless you Stephon Marbury, you ain't coming in on the varsity. If you're a freshman, you got to play JV. You got to prove why I should put you on varsity. It's a hierarchy. And, that's the thing there. And I always tell people, it started like around the time with them Saint Lunatic cats. Because what was happening was rappers, like, I'm not just dissing them, but a lot of rappers were getting record deals. And what was happening, like, Nelly got a deal. And what did Nelly do? He put on his peoples, which you should do. But guess what? All your peoples don't know how to fucking rap. You know what I mean? So I can't be mad at you because you are putting on your friends. Like, if I got a deal and I said I'm signing everybody up here, but none of y'all got no talent, but I'm giving back to my peoples. You know what I mean? And then what happened? You had Saint Lunatics, you had D12, you just had all these rappers putting on their peoples who wasn't even nice. You know what I mean? And then it got to a point where, again, it didn't even matter if you were nice anymore. It just mattered, how's your beat and is the chorus catchy? Like, that's it. Like, those are the two things that we looked at. So again, the people that we're having, just aren't there. And then the worst part, I feel like it always comes back to the money. And I say this all the time because I don't know if you've ever felt like this, Nathaniel. For years, I used to be like, if it's dope enough, they'll listen. That was like I felt like I was a fucking kid in The Wiz.
That's
like,
if I could just get to
if I could just get to the Wizard of Oz, he could give me a heart and he could give me a brain and he could make things better. Just make it dope enough. And I was listening to a West Side Gun interview and he was like, yo, I was out here in the streets doing what I had to do, giving Benny and Conway the money they needed, and it kind of hit me like, yo, without the money, you can't do shit. Fuck how good it is if you don't have the money. Because here's the thing. Let's say Sean Carter works for UPS. Pen is just as nice as it always is. Does Reasonable Doubt get made? No. Why? Because you can't afford D&D Studios on no UPS salary. You can't afford Primo and Ski and Clark Kent and all these Irv Gotti, these producers, if you working at UPS. You can't. Even though the talent is there. Even though he could have wrote all those same songs, Dead Presidents and The Evils and From the Foe, all that shit, you wrote it, but you don't have the money to get it there. So, and then what did Jay-Z do? Oh, nobody wants to sign me? Fuck it. We got the money. We'll start our own label. You see what I'm saying? So if Jay-Z is the regular Joe, we never hear of Sean Carter. The people who call the greatest rapper ever, we never hear from because of that. It bothers me sometimes because people will tell my kids, ooh, you could be Jay-Z, you could be Nipsey Hussle. And I'm like, so we want them to sell drugs. Because as much as I love Nipsey Hussle, he was a gang member. He sold drugs. He talked about having 50,000 buried in his mom's backyard. Jay-Z sold drugs. So essentially it's like we got to do something different because I know people don't mean no harm by it, but again, without the money, and that's always the hard part. All those great Motown songs that we love, do they get on the radio without Barry Gordy doing payola with money? No.
No, sir.
You know, so all the music that we're talking about, at the end of the day, we can have that dream as all we want. But if we don't have the money to back us, it gets lost. It gets lost. We never hear from these artists. We don't get it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I mean, even when I think about Rick Rubin starting Def Jam, I mean, a rich white Jew kid, like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm sure your parents hooked you up, Rick. I'm sure, you know, Bob Dukes looked out. You know what I mean? So
somebody fronted him something, that's for sure.
Yeah, somebody fronted you something, man. You know, like, and again, it's just like, and it's sad to say, I'm not saying all black folk don't have money, but I'm always like, you got to find somebody who has that disposable income. You know, because if me and Nathaniel do an album right now, we go to Vern, like, Vern, man, yo, lend us 10,000. Vern, like, all right, I'm gonna lend you this 10,000. I need this shit back. Okay, like, I need this back. Like, in 6 months, I need this back. Like, I ain't gonna charge y'all interest, but I need my 10 G's back. And me and Nathaniel gonna be like, well, I hope we could give it back. So you gonna need some NBA player who could just be like, yo, just don't make it rain for one night, you know, Bradley Beal, and just give us that 30, and you don't need this back. But without the money, that's always gonna be the problem with this situation. For the music for the people who want to make that music that people want, without the money, it's gonna be sitting there on DistroKid. And it's sad because I know
money now is the new gatekeeper.
There you go.
There it is.
That's the gatekeeper. If you have the money.
Yeah.
I mean, Nathaniel, I'm sure Bradley Bill said, you know what, I really like your shit, man. Here's $1 million. Go do what you got to do. I'm sure we're not having this conversation where nobody knows about your music. You know what I mean? I didn't know. Meg Thee Stallion, I didn't know the guy who was behind her was a Major League Baseball player. He's a retired Major League Baseball player. And he was saying how he put $1 million into Meg Thee Stallion, and now we have Meg Thee Stallion. You know what I mean? So, you know, again, without that money, or the little bit of money we try to make from our day-to-day 9 to 5 and, you know, pay for bills and make sure baby girl and the kids got stuff, that little bit of money that's left isn't enough to propel us to where we need to go. So rough situation. But, you know, prayerfully, one day it'll change. One day it'll change. Nathaniel, give them all the info, man. Where can they, now that we know about you, where can they go and get all your music and download everything? So at least the next time we had this conversation, I don't even want to say the next time, but here's the sad part. Every time somebody got killed, me and somebody that I worked with put out a song. I didn't think we'd still be putting out songs, but we still are. You know, so the next time that we're at this place of where is the music, that people can't say, well, we didn't know about Nathaniel Starr. So where can they get all your stuff at, good brother?
So if you want to get it directly from me, my Bandcamp page. I have some
and break that down, because from what I hear from a lot of artists, they want you to do Bandcamp because you get more money through Bandcamp versus Spotify and iTunes. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's rule number one. So for a lot of people out there, I know it's easier to just go to your iTunes and it's easier to go to Spotify or Tidal, but I'm making sure that people know that the artist will get more money if you do take the time and purchase it from their Bandcamp. And come on, y'all, it's opening another window on your computer screen. Like, it's really not like you got to go down the Sound of Germantown and you got to go down Beach Street in downtown Brooklyn. It's just opening another tab on your screen and just going to their Bandcamp page. It will help the indie artists. Go ahead, Nathaniel.
And it's a lot more money. It's not even close. Like, you got to get so many streams to even make whatever. But if I have a song and you pay $1 for the song, I get like 85 cents on the dollar. Like, it's a whole lot more money. So if you really want to support the artist, so yeah, my Bandcamp page is nathanielstarr.bandcamp.com. I do have some stuff on there that's not available for like Spotify and things of the nature. Like I said, that whole El Negro project that I put out for Black History Month, I made that only available on my Bandcamp page. Now that one is free. You can donate money, or it's a tab that you can, if you want to give money, you can, but that one is free. Other than that, man, I mean, I'm everywhere that you find every other artist, of course, which is part of the issue. Your iTunes, the Google Plays, everything, your Amazon, whatever's. But my IG, man, is Nathaniel Starr Music, man, and I definitely need to I mean, but even still with that, man, like the promotion, like like you said, everything takes money, man. Everything takes money, man. It's just one of those things where it's word of mouth. I don't have a major following. My music is good, but I don't have a major following on any of those platforms. But if you just Google Nathaniel Starr, it's gonna be me. There's no other Nathaniel Stars out there, that's for sure. Not yet, at least. Yeah. Buy me, man.
All right, no doubt. And again, I co-signed it. Like I said, I went to his IG page and just got stuck all night, and then just literally came in here. And for me, that's how I love making music. I know some people who make music, they hear whack shit and they're like, "Oh, I'm Superman. I need to come save the day and make dope shit." I'm the exact opposite. I want to hear. If I'm hearing whack shit, I don't even get inspired. I need to hear something dope to be like, let me go cook, because it's some dope shit out there. So definitely check out his stuff. DJ Rec One, where can they get at you at, good brother?
Oh man, so mixes on Mixcloud at DJ Rec One. I'm getting ready to start working on the album, Kill.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You rapping?
Nah, rapping was 35 years ago.
I was about to say, bro, you pulling out the mic, man. What are you doing? Like a Soul Survivor album? You producing all the beats?
The first one is just gonna be all beats, and then I'm gonna see how that goes, and then I'm gonna look to do that.
Okay.
But I need to get the stable up first.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna start working on it this weekend, man. Had some inspiring things go down, so I'm gonna be in the lab all weekend, so y'all won't see me on the timeline.
I feel that.
But yeah, Mixcloud at DJ Rec One, Twitter at DJ Rec One, Instagram at DJ Rec One.
All right, Eddie, give him everything, good brother.
I'm on Twitter at EddieD80, on Instagram at Eddie Got Soul.
All right. Yo, and I want to thank you too again, good brother. This man took good care of me when I was out in LA. He took me out to Amoeba Records before they shut down. So, I saw they shut down. I was like, damn, I got there just in time to cop some stuff. You know what I mean? We probably spent 2 hours in there digging.
Yeah.
Bird, give him everything, good brother. If you are looking for a house in Atlanta or anywhere in the world, this is the man, Vern, the closer, Chandler right there. Give him everything, good brother.
Yo, Instagram, V the Lone Closer, Twitter, V Chandler 10.
All right, Porsche.
Twitter is at Chershayla Porsche.
And that's all y'all need to know.
You guys.
We're trying to help. We are helpful individuals. She doesn't like Drake. She loves Troy. There you go. That's all you need to know, man. Hates Drake, loves Troy. There's half the battle's there for you mofos. If you pay attention, just say you hate Drake and you love Troy, you may get a follow back. It's not rocket science, you fucking idiots. I don't get it, Y'all, I can't even say it all out. There's so many people who DM. I'm not even gonna start about Porsche. How many DMs I get about her on a daily fucking basis, and it's like Troy. Like Troy, don't like Drake, motherfuckers. It is not goddamn hard.
It's checkers, not
right? Like it's like, yo, work with me. Like I am fucking telling you what to do, and y'all can't even do that. And then they go on time like, oh, Drake is the best. The fuck? I said she don't like Drake. I quit. I apologize for anybody who has to deal with these assholes out here in America right now. It's like, how do I get the job? Go in on time. Come in 20 minutes late. Damn, I don't know why I get the job. Nigga, you got there on time. I was 20 minutes late. Nigga, I said just be on time. Like, yo, I don't know what's wrong with people. Yo, but y'all know it is Kill Apartment 5B on Twitter, 889 on Instagram. And just, again, y'all, there's so many dope artists that are out there. Like, you've got the Nathaniel Stars. You got the Al G's, who's always on Apartment 5B. Who to me, y'all had one of the dopest albums of last year. But outside of the timeline, I feel like people don't know. Or my young boy Mousse, I think the album is fucking incredible. And I'm not just saying that because I produced it, but I think it's an incredible album and nobody, really knows about it. And Nathaniel, a point that you brought up before I leave, and it made me think, like you said, you're big in other countries. And that's always been the problem with Black artists. I mean, going back to the 30s, you know what I mean? Like thinking back to when the Roots was like, yo, they had to go move to London because nobody was trying to hear what they was kicking here in the States. So when you look now at Black Thought and Quest, who are like two pillars of hip hop, who are doing so much for the culture, to think that nobody was paying them any attention, they had to go to another country just to be able to get on. It's just so sad that that's 92. And now he's telling me in 2020, it's the same thing. I've got a huge following in Canada. I've got a huge following in the UK, but I don't have the following here. And I'll never understand we're talking from the 30s to now, like that Black artists are still struggling with being accepted and purchased and supported by their own. It's, I'm not a biblical scholar, so
Yeah,
help me out.
I was just about to say, Jesus
Thank
said
you.
the prophet has no honor in his own home, and it's
Thank you. I appreciate you, because that was not what I was going to say. It was the same premise, but I wasn't going to get the verse right. So I appreciate you being here. Because that's what I wanted to say, but that wasn't what I was going to say. But it was something like that. But yeah, it's just that's amazing to me, y'all. That's still amazing to me that's what we're dealing with, where we have so much support in other places, but not here. But prayerfully that will change. I appreciate y'all. For people watching, I'm sorry this wasn't the loving, fun, laughing, joking, apartment 5B we usually do. But again, I think everybody up here has so much on their mind. So I just appreciate y'all taking the time to even break away from, emotions and tears and fears and just everything, to just even sit down and chop it up today. So I appreciate the hell out of y'all, man. So I will check y'all next week, man.
Thank you.
Bless up.
Yeah. Thank you.